Here's a fact that should make you sit down slowly. Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, lived closer in time to the iPhone in your pocket than she did to the building of the Great Pyramid. Sound wrong? Good. It's not. And the reason it feels wrong tells you more about how your brain stores history than it does about history itself. Because the distance between Cleopatra and the pyramids is bigger than the distance between Cleopatra and you. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Do the subtraction. The Great Pyramid went up around 2560 BC under the pharaoh Khufu, using an estimated 2.3 million limestone blocks, some weighing over 2 tons each. Cleopatra VII was born in 69 BC and died in 30 BC. From the pyramid to Cleopatra, about 2,530 years. From Cleopatra to the iPhone, unveiled by Steve Jobs on June 29, 2007, about 2,037 years. She's nearly 5 centuries closer to your phone than to her own country's most famous monument. It gets worse. Augustus declared the Roman Empire in 27 BC, 3 years after Cleopatra's death. The empire history books file her under didn't exist yet when she died. While Khufu's workers were hauling those blocks into place, woolly mammoths were still alive. Not symbolically, actual breathing mammoths on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean, an island roughly the size of Crete. Most mammoths died out around 10,000 BC as the Ice Age ended. A small population on Wrangel Island survived, cut off from the mainland with no predators and no competition for food. Isolation shrank them. Later generations were smaller than their mainland ancestors, some barely 6 feet at the shoulder. In 1993, Russian paleontologists Sergei Vartanyan, Grant Garutt, and Sher published radiocarbon dates on tusks and teeth from the island in the journal Nature. Their result? The last mammoths died out around 1650 BC. That's roughly 900 years after the Great Pyramid was finished. The pyramid was already ancient, and mammoths were still alive 3,000 miles north of it, going extinct not from spears or ice, but slowly, from inbreeding in a shrinking gene pool. Here's one she never touched. Walk along the Thames in London or through Central Park in New York, and you'll find a pink granite obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. Tourists assume she commissioned it. She didn't. It was carved around 1450 BC for the pharaoh Thutmose III, over 1,400 years before Cleopatra was born, then hauled north to Alexandria around 12 BC, after her death, by the Roman prefect Publius Rubrius Barbarus. It sat in her city, but it was never hers. Victorian Britain and Gilded Age New York slapped her name on it in the 1800s because Cleopatra sold tickets better than Thutmose. She's attached to a monument she likely never saw finished, that predates her by more time than separates you from the fall of the Western Roman Empire. She ruled Alexandria, a city with a library holding an estimated 500,000 scrolls, and a lighthouse, the Pharos, over 100 meters tall, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Her first language was Greek. She learned Egyptian as a political tool, one of the only Ptolemaic rulers who bothered. She met Julius Caesar in Alexandria in 48 BC. She negotiated directly with Mark Antony. Engineers in her city, including Heron of Alexandria, were building early steam-powered devices and temple doors that opened on their own, driven by hidden mechanisms and hot air. Cleopatra wore kohl eyeliner ground from lead ore, perfumed herself with myrrh imported from Arabia, and cultivated her public image as the living goddess Isis, centuries before anyone coined the word propaganda. She wasn't squinting at pyramids from a mud hut. She ruled one of the most advanced cities on Earth, and she looked at Khufu's monument the way you'd look at Stonehenge. Impressive, ancient, built by people whose world she couldn't fully picture. Oxford University started teaching around 1096. The Aztec Empire didn't exist yet. Tenochtitlan wasn't founded until 1325. Oxford had 2 centuries of students arguing theology before a single stone of the Aztec capital was laid. France used the guillotine as an official method of execution until 1977. That's the same year Star Wars hit theaters. And it isn't only human history. Stegosaurus went extinct around 145 million years ago, Tyrannosaurus rex didn't show up until about 66 million years ago, a gap of roughly 80 million years. That's wider than the 66 million years separating T-Rex from you. Tyrannosaurus rex is closer to your lifetime than it is to Stegosaurus. Your brain doesn't store history as a timeline, it stores it as folders. Everything before living memory gets shoved into one drawer labeled old, and every item inside gets treated as equally far away, whether it's a pyramid, a mammoth, an obelisk, or a queen. Cleopatra never lived in that drawer. She lived in a hallway, closer to some doors than others, the same way you do right now. She looked at the Great Pyramid the way you look at the Colosseum. Monumental, ancient, already gone by the time she got there. 2,000 years from now, someone is going to open a drawer labeled Ancient Civilization, drop your phone in next to the pyramid, and never know the difference.